In continuing coverage tonight, 2 Williston men were charged and convicted of sex-related crimes involving children in 2 separate cases, but their convictions were reversed on appeal to the state Supreme Court. One of those men, Everest Moore, will go to trial again later this year, but the other, Juan Martinez, is clear of the charge of continuous sexual abuse of a child after the Williams County State's Attorney's Office dismissed the case altogether. Tonight, we speak with the attorney who represented Martinez on appeal about that state Supreme Court decision and how a man found guilty by a jury was able to walk free.
We generally don't trust things that happen in secret, right? We don't trust secret trials with secret witnesses that give secret testimony.
And that's why Kiara Kraus-Parr, attorney for Juan Martinez on appeal, argued to the North Dakota Supreme Court that an error was made in Martinez's trial. Martinez was found guilty of continuous sexual abuse of a child, a Class AA felony in 2019. But portions of his trial were closed to the public, with the exception of a reporter who was allowed to remain.
It's much easier to treat defendants unfairly when none of this is done in front of the public. And so that's really why public trial right is so important, is because it fosters fairness. It removes sort of the appearance of corruption if we can do everything out in the open. Transparency in government, transparency in the legal system is the only thing that really gives us any faith in it, any accountability.
There are times when a courtroom can be closed. For instance, North Dakota law allows closure of courts for child witness testimony under certain conditions. Greg Kozowski is executive director for Children's Advocacy Centers of North Dakota. He spoke with us about the trauma children can face when testifying in sexual abuse trials.
It's a difficult experience, very emotionally draining, emotionally taxing. You know, you picture the child sitting in front of a jury who they don't know, an intimidating judge and lawyers.
The Martinez trial was also closed, however, for the testimony of a counselor, and that, the state Supreme Court ruled, was an error, saying, quote, the district court's findings in support of the second closure are clearly erroneous, end quote. The conviction was reversed, and ultimately the case against Martinez was dismissed.
That's solely at the discretion of the prosecutor as to whether or not they want to retry the case.
KX News reached out to Nathan Madden, the prosecutor with the Williams County State's Attorney's Office, for this story. He declined our request for an interview. We also reached out to Judge Benjamin Johnson, who presided over the trial and made the rulings on the courtroom closures. A court recorder for Johnson told us he wasn't comfortable discussing the case, so we dug through court documents to get a clearer picture of what happened. Court documents show the Williams County State's Attorney's Office filed a petition to the state Supreme Court prior to the start of the Martinez trial, saying the courtroom closure could generate the type of error that may result in an automatic reversal, and that the decision to close the courtroom while allowing a member of the media to be present was internally contradictory. Instead, the Williams County State's Attorney's Office proposed the testimony be closed to the public entirely, including the reporter. That petition was denied.
The right to go attend trials is a right of the press and the right of the people at large.
Weeks after the state Supreme Court's reversal, Madden filed a motion to dismiss the case, citing several reasons, saying the alleged victim would be unavailable to testify again and that the family had concerns about the trauma of a retrial.
You know, a lot of times when you have a case and it's done, they feel that it's finished, they've closed that door, that chapter is hopefully over in their life. And for this case to come back, it's just really difficult.
With the reversal of his conviction, Martinez is clear of the charge and cannot be retried. Everest Moore, whose conviction was also overturned by the state Supreme Court on appeal, is scheduled to go to trial again in October for multiple counts of gross sexual imposition.
A 19-year-old